Welcome back. It's the Introverted Wanderer. Sorry I've been away so long, but this week we're going to talk about my trip to Prague. So, thanks for coming back. So sorry I was gone so long. It's been a crazy time at work over the past 3 weeks or so, as well as I've upgraded my system, which you'll see right up in here. So now I'm able to actually record, give you guys a little bit better video. It gives me better audio options. And also allows me to stream live on YouTube and on Twitch. So if you haven't yet, go check out my Twitch. The feed is down below. And let me know what you think. It's just me playing some video games, kind of talking jibber jabber. But now I can actually dedicate more time to telling you guys more about traveling. So I know I talked about trying to do a part 2 to London and talk about my first trip to London. And it got me kind of thinking maybe I should kind of start at the beginning. And I know I had talked about taking that month off and backpacking Europe, and I did. I started in Hamburg, and then I went to Berlin, and I had a few friends with me along the way, or that I met there that lived in Hamburg and Berlin. The first time I was really on my own was as soon as I hit the train station leaving Berlin to go to Prague. And so when I was in Prague, that was my first real entry into being alone and traveling and truly being an introverted wanderer. So I thought it might be better to talk about that, especially because I'm right at the 5-year anniversary of that trip. So I've been being reminded by the Facebook of this trip and getting to relive it every day by looking at pictures in my memories. So I thought, I'll just talk about Prague first. It was also one of my favorite cities, one of the more beautiful cities I've ever seen. So here it is. Here's Prague. So, Prague is older, I guess, so to speak. But when I first got there off the train, it was more me trying to find out where do I need to go, what do I need to do. I'd planned a little bit, but really did want to kind of get lost. I had heard that I needed to try the castle and check it out. I had heard that I needed to check out the Charles Bridge. I had heard that I needed to check out the Old Town Square and the astronomical clock. So I knew I had a few things I needed to check out, but first I had to get settled. And so when I was planning this trip, I actually used Hostelworld and planned all the hostels that I knew I was going to stay at. I actually went ahead and made reservations so that at least I had that done. So first thing I did was I got off the train, I changed out my money into the Czech coronas and kind of just walked and had a little map and kind of knew where to go. But then again, my hostel ended up being tucked in this alley. It was kind of creepy and weird, but it worked out. So I got in, I got settled, got checked in, and then kind of wandered around. And the first day there, I only had about half a day, maybe not quite. So first thing I did, I dropped off my bags and headed out, and I walked down and got a map. Put it in my backpack and basically just got the gist. Hey, front desk lady, what do I need to do to get to the bridge? And so she just gave me real quick directions and off I went. I didn't want to be too planned, too structured in that. So I just headed out, found the bridge. It was right around sunset. I got some wonderful pictures, which I will share with you guys here. And on that bridge is just some amazing statues just lining both sides. You've got street performers. It's absolutely packed. There's all kinds of great little spots to eat in and around there. And of course, it's on the river. It's a bridge, so it connects two bits of land with water in the middle. That's how bridges work. And off in the distance, you could see Prague Castle. And again, I'll show you a picture here. And for those of you that follow me on Instagram, that was the picture that I posted today, was one of the pictures I took of Prague Castle on that first night in Prague. So again, the first night I just kind of, just literally wandered, took pictures, took it in. Again, I was alone, so I didn't want to get too deep, but and too lost, because I wanted to make sure I could get back to my hostel. And so sure enough, I did. Spent the night there, then navigated the bathrooms in the morning. Shared bathrooms were something kind of new. I did have roommates. I had a 6-bed room, so I think that first night I only had 3 other people in there with me. But got up, got everything situated, and headed out and did the castle. So crossed the bridge, walked up this massive hill with camera in tow and my day pack, and I'm not in as good a shape as I once was, and even then I wasn't. So it was a little rough. And when I got to the top, I actually just sat up and kind of enjoyed the views that were there. And kind of took in all of Prague, which was really amazing. It's a beautiful, beautiful city. A lot of Russian influence. But checked out, I think their parliament was up there, just a lot of government buildings, and then you get to go into the castle. And so what you see in the pictures that I post, that's not the castle. That's the cathedral that's within the castle walls. And again, really beautiful. It doesn't really change that, but and even when I look at it, I'm like, oh, that's Prague Castle, but it's not. It's the cathedral that's in there. So got into the castle, got in through the gates, checked out the cathedral, walked around. Absolutely amazing, beautiful architecture, as you can see in the pictures. And then kind of checked out the other things in the castle, which was what castles had, right? Like they had posts where guys would look out. You got to check out all the old armor that the guys would wear. It was just like any other castle that you'll go visit. So I took my time, wandered back down the hill, went back across the bridge, took a million pictures because I had a little daylight, and then kind of wandered back to the hostel just to drop some stuff off, take a load off for a minute. They always did have like little snacks and stuff around, so I did sit down, I ate, I had a few beers, and then kind of wandered back out to get to the Old Town Square. So here it is, day 2. I'm in the Old Town Square, and it is amazing. You've got other churches, all buildings. You've got the astronomical clock over there. And while I was there, there was this little kind of festival going on. So there were all kinds of little vendors and booths that were selling food. And of course, I'm starving. I don't really know what to do. Like, I'm a very picky eater. So I just kind of wandered those little stands. And next thing I know, it's basically like 2 slabs of meat, 2 slices of bread, and a beer. And I'm like, well, you know what? That's perfect. So let's just do that. Turns out it was like $4 freaking dollars. Like, that was it. Prague, very inexpensive city. So I sat down, had my beer, kind of watched everything going on, the people singing music. The clock was going off in the background. It was amazing. And again, very inexpensive. So it was just for you guys. So sat there, enjoyed it, kind of wandered little alleys and tried to get lost. And so that's going to lead me into my next thing, my little bit of advice for anybody that's going to be traveling. Especially if you're alone, or even if you're with someone or like a significant someone or some friends. Don't just follow the masses, right? Like throw a map in and just go get lost. You will find way more stuff if you're just out meandering through alleys and streets. And again, common sense, rule of thumb, safety in numbers. So if there's still people around, you're fine. Just keep kind of wandering and getting lost. And when you're like, okay, well, we were looking for this and we thought it was this way, we haven't found it, then stop and look at a map. But you will enjoy your time way more if you just wander around and get lost, right? So that's my little tidbit of advice. Just throw a map in your pack and just go find shit. Like, that's really all you want to do. So anyway, so I did that, and I kind of got to check out a few things and ended up wandering back. And next thing I knew, I was actually pretty close to my hostel. So actually called it a night, went back. They were having a beer pong tournament, so I kind of went and participated in that and passed out. My next day, which was my final full day in Prague, I'd kind of seen what I really wanted to see. So I went back to the bridge to take a few more pictures. And then that day I kind of wandered just the riverfront and went to the Jewish cemetery and went to see, I call it the Crazy House. I will look this up after and I'll post the name of what it actually is down here. But as you can see in a picture, it's kind of a crazy looking house. So it just really weird, but walked and checked out the architecture, and then went to the New Town Square, which was kind of cool. Definitely a little more commercial. That's where your high-end shops were, and another government building, I think like the town hall or what have you. And a really beautiful statue, and you can see pictures here. It's got candles all over the place. This was right after, like, Russia invaded Kiev or whatever happened right then while I was out and about. And that kind of, with that heavy influence there, the mood was kind of somber for a few days. And you could tell something was up just kind of walking around and seeing the locals. But so did that, and then kind of wandered my way back to the old town square and kind of felt the vibe and checked out how everything was and really just took in as much as I could. Because again, I was getting ready to leave this beautiful city. I wasn't sure if I wanted to quite then, but I'd already made my arrangements to go and head to Vienna. So I just did what I could. Now then, earlier that day, I had kind of made plans with some of my suite mates in the hostel, and they wanted to go out bar hopping. So we did head out, hit a few bars. Prague nightlife is kind of intense and hardcore. Definitely way more intense and hardcore than I tend to roll. So we went out, we had a few beers, and then I kind of said, all right, I got to go back. There were a few of us that did want to go back, so we went and got something to eat at this little shop right next to the alley where the hostel was, and then just kind of sat there, packed up, got ready. I actually showered that night, and that way I could go straight to the train station the next morning, just to kind of head out and go on to Vienna. So a few takebacks from this trip, at least in ways that I can help you guys out. If you are traveling alone or if you're traveling with friends, don't put down the possibility of a hostel. Number one, search on Hostel World just like you would Expedia, Priceline, or any other website. They do put hotels, they put bed and breakfasts in there, so it's not just searching hostels. The other thing is some hostels are possibly even better than hotels. They do have single rooms, they do have rooms with like 2 twin beds, and they are by far significantly cheaper. A lot of times too, they happen to be right in the middle of the action, which is kind of what you're really looking for anyway. So don't put it off. Like go check it out, see if something falls in with what you're trying to do. Odds are you're gonna have an option there, and then it's just a matter of if you are comfortable staying there at that hostel, or if you'd rather just kind of go the hotel direction. So the other thing is, again, get lost. Have a day pack no matter where you're going. Throw like some salty treats and a soda or a big bottle of water, and a map, and just put it in there. Grab your headphones, put those on, and head on. Like, just go. Get lost. You'll find things you didn't know existed that you'll end up talking more about those when you get home than when you went to the castle or when you went to Charles Bridge. It's insane how much you'll actually learn instead of just going and being a tourist. It kind of forces you to take in the local side of things. And I've been very fortunate that 1 month that I went by myself, that's what I was doing everywhere I went. I've been very fortunate with my girlfriend. When we travel, we tend to just go out and walk around anyway. So we know where we're trying to go, and then we just kind of zigzag and figure out our way there, and then check the phone if we feel like maybe we're too far off track. But we've found some really cool stuff doing that, both in Mallorca and Barcelona on the one trip there, and then of course London, Shinu, and on this last trip, and Tenerife. We basically never left the resort. We did walk down to the beach a few nights, but not a whole lot of wandering on that trip. But yeah, go get lost. Like, don't just say, well, I'm going to hit all the tourist things, this, or I know this really hot restaurant. Like, go find things that are local. And you'll end up enjoying those more and getting more out of it. As well as you're probably going to save some money, because all these places that get all the tourists and see all that traffic, their prices are going to be higher. So another thing is, if you are going to Europe, I know that they have tremendous airlines, right? That fly for cheap. They go all the time, like every hour on the hour to whatever city you want to go to, and that's great. I used it for Barcelona, Mallorca, and back. We used it for London to Tenerife and back. Very inexpensive. Didn't take an absurd amount of time. But train travel, if you're in like mainland Europe, is by far the way to go. It might take you a little bit longer, but that's where you kind of pick your spots to say, well, I want to be a little bit closer. So it's just a 3-hour train ride. Train rides, you can show up like 20 minutes before your train. There's no security. You just hop on and hop off. You're not going, you don't have to be there 2 or 3 hours in advance. You're not going through security, so you can just pack whatever in your bag. You're not having to take your laptop out and your liquids out, and then you forget this, and you get to take your shoes off, and then you get a pat down, and although now you've got a best friend that's felt you up, like it's awkward, and it's kind of tedious and time consuming. But traveling by train, you get to see way more of the country than you would if you were just flying over it really quick. So if you're pressed for time, I get it, like take the flight. If you're really trying to enjoy and take in what you can, hop on the train. It's a lot of fun. So that's a little bit about my trip to Prague. Again, I'm going to post some pictures. There'll be some here at the end credits, just kind of letting you see what I saw. I apologize again for being gone so long. I will not be gone again that long. If you like what you see, go down and subscribe or click the like button. Drop me some lines in the comments. Let me know what you're thinking. Let me know what you want to hear more about. If you have any questions, if you have any thoughts, if you want to tell me go F myself, like I'm okay with that too. Just let me know what you're thinking. Let me know what you're feeling. So I'm hoping to get another video up this week. I will probably do, let's see, so I did Prague, then I went to Vienna. That was really quick. So I think I might do Rome on my next one, or I may just jump right into my Barcelona trip, and that would be a 2-parter with Barcelona and Mallorca. But like in the meantime, go find me on Twitter, go find me on Instagram. They're both in the links down below or on my main page. Introverted Wanderer. Until then, next time we'll see you. Have a great week. Bye-bye.